Welcome to the Tech Savvy Professor podcast, which features two faculty members who love tech and love making it part of their work. I'm Marty Gensius, a faculty member at Kent State University.
And I'm Eric Perry, faculty member and program director at Divine Mercy University.
And program director at Kent State University. I need to put my part in there now because I am earning my keep this week. It is registration week for our students for classes. Yeah. And don't like it when they don't get what they want right away. And they don't give you any time to straighten it out. You know, the world should operate in a very particular way immediately. And I just can't wait for their first client. That's
right. Coming in with expectations is a really, really dangerous proposition.
Yeah. So, well, this week, last night I had an experience teaching where a student came up and used Canva as the app to do the presentation with. And I'm a little familiar with Canva. I know, Eric, you love Canva. And I think your wife is the Canva queen. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. So I'd like to say convince me. But this student went ahead and did the presentation, and it was okay. She couldn't get the hyperlinks to work, but she was very, very anxious about using technology. And so to see her do it was a victory just in one sense. But she came up and did this presentation in front of the class and worked through the slides in Canva, and it was fine. But I had never seen what I will call a PowerPoint done using Canva before. I'm a long time paid account Canva person, and so I'm familiar enough with it. I know they've added a lot of AI into it. They've added a lot of other kinds of templates over the years, where it was primarily a small kind of design program, I think, when it first started, and quickly built into sort of a big design resource ready to make. So it's, for folks who do not have any artistic sense, there's plenty that you can choose from with this app to put things together. I have used it primarily for stills, for designing like icons for apps and icons to work on web pages. So the idea that certain web pages and banners have to have certain dimensions, I can develop that in Canva and with a paid account export it in whatever size or dimension that I want it in. I don't know. Does it take a lot of design chomps to make it work for you?
I don't think so. I think it definitely takes some getting used to. The templates are great if you work within those. They can be really user friendly. If you like a template, just filling in information. So I had an activity with my faculty 2 weeks ago. We did a dad joke competition.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever had the best dad joke, judged by our new faculty, got a certificate that said funniest faculty member in CMHC. And it took 10 minutes to make. There was a really neat template. I set the colors to our university colors and threw our logo on there. Really, really easy to navigate those kind of templates. Yeah. I think as you start to customize more and you want more customization there, it can take a little bit of time to learn how to do things. But there's tools for just about everything design-wise. Like you mentioned, it started out as a design platform for graphics. Mm-hmm. So you can see that when you're in there. My wife uses it a great deal too for video editing, just quick videos in TikTok format, that she can post, Facebook format. It's really, really good about getting things into the size and dimensions and scale that you need.
Yeah, and if you don't know what those dimensions or sizes are, it gives you this is what you'd use for a Facebook page. This is what you'd use for. So, if you don't, and then, if I'm designing something, it's going to tell me what size and dimensions and to what pixel strength it needs to be at for a particular. You can go with the hard numbers, or in many cases, you can just go with sort of what they describe as a default size for whatever you're doing it with. The student happened to be in a class I was in this morning, and I said, we just decided that we're going to do a show on Canva.
Mhm.
And she went, "Oh, inspired by me." And I was like, "Well, yeah, sort of." And so we talked a little bit about it in class, not too much, but I said, "Here's the problem I have with Canva." And I didn't know any other way to say this, and I know this is not necessarily politically correct, but I said, every time I use AI to try and produce something with it, the templates are a little too girly for me. They look a little too flowery for, my stuff is generally around tech. And so I don't need a lot of pinks. And I mean, to me, it just sometimes detracts from what my intention is. So I have to dig a little deeper to get design patterns and sometimes pull elements out of it in order to, and then, not use the default text they're using because it's script or it's something that is not going to look clear. The other thing that I'm aware of is most of my stuff is going to shrink down to a really small icon. So I have to be careful about the size text and what kind of text I'll put on it so the icon will be recognizable. It's not just a square with something written on it that no one can discern. So that always takes a lot of tweaking on my part to get a background and a design that kind of fits the theme that of what I'm doing and realize that the limitations that I have in terms of how much I can put on it or what size is the things that I put on it so it shows up when it goes down to the size that users are going to see it at.
Yeah, I think I've done more for web graphics and then the kind of social media videos and helping out with those than I have with print stuff. But there's a good selection of print stuff here too, templates. My brother was just married a few weeks ago and did his wedding invitations on here,
Hmm.
printed them for a fraction of the cost of what they were going to order them for. And they looked fantastic. There's really good print resources here. I'll do anything to avoid using a printer for any type of project or purpose, but I
Mm-hmm.
know some of us still, you need that for some things. But I was
By a
impressed with some of
printer,
the
do you
options.
mean someone who's going to do the printing for you
No,
or an
a
actual
printer,
physical printer? Yeah.
a printer at all. I have one here.
Okay.
I use it when I have to. Otherwise, I leave it unplugged and collecting dust.
In fact, for those who are listening to this podcast, our design, Tech Savvy Professor, if you look at our logo, was made in Canva. And I think the head with the wires coming out of it, or the silhouette of the head with the wires coming out of it, was one of the template uh, graphics that I could use, and then including the text so it looked the text so it looked very technical. Selecting the right font to make it look that way was what it was, how it was put together. Yeah, I've got my page open and I'm looking at different things that I've designed for it, using it, like the SesNet D community logo, masterclass design that I use, which is actually a short video because things fly in and that's all part of that template for the ASGW masterclass. Yeah, I'm just going through my library and seeing a lot of stuff that I put together.
Something I like design wise, but I feel like is still a little clunky. They have a section called whiteboard where you
Yeah.
can create flow charts and that kind of thing. And I think because I spent so much time in PowerPoint learning how to do those, how to design those, and kind of collected some good templates for those, it feels clunky for me trying to
Yeah.
do it in here. But some of the templates that they have and the examples look fantastic. So I feel like that's just maybe a skill deficit on my part. I need to take more time to learn it, but it's an interesting feature if you use those a good bit to represent information, those flowcharts and diagrams.
Yeah, I'm looking at the common designs. If you want to create a design, and they have course presentation, which is 16.9, Instagram doc, your story, logo, document, poster, video, 1080p, Facebook post, infographic. All of these are part of it. And then, common layouts like poster, worksheet, cards, office and business sort of proposal templates for doing proposals. And what is the cost? Is it do you
It's
you have a
nominal.
paid account, I would assume?
Yeah, I mean the free account is really limited.
Yeah,
A lot of the premium resources are the ones you're going to want to use. They know exactly what you want to use. So as you start to go through it, you'll see a lot of those premium resources that are not available for the free account. So the Canva pricing, there's a couple of different plans for those. Individuals, the pro version is $120 a year for one person, one
person.
license. They do offer some educational discounts that you can get verified. So if you're in K-12, that may be something for you. Some of our school counselors, they have special pricing for higher education, but I haven't tried that. And there are team enterprise and Canva teams that you can get. The Canva teams, if you have 3 people, it's $100 per year instead of 120
Is that per person? $100 per year per person.
per person. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're over 3 people. So I don't, for what it offers, I don't think it's bad at all. $10 a
No,
month.
no, it's what, the first click is the deepest. When you're saying, should I sign up for this? I've kind of become subscription numb, and so I subscribe to services I'm going to use, and that's just the way the world is now. I do have to occasionally go through and clear out ones that it's like, I never really took advantage of this. It hasn't impacted my life, so let me drop this subscription.
Mhm.
But Canva's not one of them. Canva is one that every time I look at it, it's like, yeah, I'm paying $12 a month essentially, but I need to do that.
Well, and I think it might be a topic or at least a quick conversation at some point about the tools that are out there now. There's actual tools that you can use to find out which subscriptions you're paying for and if you might have
Yeah.
multiple. And I've not tried them yet, but most of that's because I'm scared of what I'm paying for and don't remember signing up for.
Yeah, some of the tools are hooked into credit scores, and so you go there and then they have this tool to find all these subscriptions, and I just want the tool. And there are some tools that are standalone apps I know that I've seen to be able to scan that. So let's make that a show topic, maybe coming up next in terms of how to find and eliminate your subscriptions. I think there are even there are some utilities that like I'm not sure if Clean My Mac is one of them, that has an option to search for subscriptions. So it's built into tech utilities that you might use on your. So yeah, that'll take a little bit of homework on yours. In my part, yeah, I'm kind of afraid to figure out what I'm spending on subscriptions. And I know there are a couple that I just didn't get to the 7-day trial in time. And cancel. So I know I'm in for that for a year. I've started putting them in my calendar to remind me, don't forget to get rid of this.
I need to be better about that too. But Canva is definitely not one
Yeah.
I mind paying for because it does get a lot of use here.
Yeah. I mean, it has a whole thing on branding if you want to set up branding for whatever organization or group that you're working with, a whole series of templates. Have you used the AI much?
I've tinkered around with it here and there, but I like you, I haven't found it to really generate anything I liked without too much editing.
Yeah.
I've always been able to find graphically something that looks close enough for me to be able to edit. The other thing I did want to mention really quickly was the collaboration aspect of this,
Okay.
which is really neat. I think you can send even someone who's not a user or doesn't have a subscription, you can send them your work, have them give you comments, and have a dialogue around a project or whatever. My wife does that all the time. She'll be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And it'll send me the email. I can leave comments, and she can address them or not.
Hmm.
So I think that's really neat too. They don't necessarily need to be a subscriber or have an account to be able to look at and preview your work and give you comments right in the system.
I'm thinking of some of us have been accused of not having any style. And so if you just sit down and try to design something on your own, you're taking your talent as far as it can go. That's what'll come out on paper. At least what Canvas does is it provokes me with other options to look at when I search through the templates. Like, oh, I wouldn't have think of doing something like that, but I'd but I'll still change the font on it. But at least it kind of gets me in the ballpark of design. And you see, we can talk about design disasters that you've seen, and definitely with presentations. And you've probably seen the death by PowerPoint. Just search for that on Google or on YouTube, and you'll see plenty of examples of bad design. At least Canva gets me in the ballpark, and to a greater degree, it and I like minimalist design. It keeps me in a minimalist design, and I'm not tempted to throw everything in it, including the kitchen sink. So.
So not to get into story time too much, but a former university I worked for had asked, they said, you're required, if we're going to pay your professional development funds for you to present somewhere, to use our template, our PowerPoint template to present. I responded with no. What are the consequences? It was because it was awful. It was just terrible. Clutter, messy, huge logo that you couldn't put anything over. It was clearly like a marketing scheme that they had to get the word out. Yeah. I didn't hear back on what the consequences were, though.
That's when the marketers ignore the whole process of education, and they're like, we just want to get our brand out. We don't care if you're teaching anybody with it at this point. We're just going to give you this hunky, large template that you're tied to using.
Everyone wants to see our new logo, not what you have to teach, right?
So is that a wrap for today, you think, in terms of what we need to talk about? I would encourage people to, if you're not familiar with it, and I would be surprised if people aren't familiar with it, but if you're not familiar with it, take a look at Canva, Canva.com. Do a trial, though it's limited, but see what else is available. We both think that a subscription is very much worth it, particularly as you start using it. It'll be like, okay, I got to have this. Let me go to Canva and create it. And, all of their material is royalty free with the paid subscription. I think that's correct, Eric.
Yeah. So they have a freemium kind of level and a premium level. Everything at a premium level. And that's posted there as royalty free, so you can use it as needed.
Yeah, and your choices of templates on the free level is extremely limited. You'll see some grayed out options, but that's for the pro level, for the paid level. So yeah, good app, good supplement to whatever you're doing within your educational setting. And we'll try and do some more of this in the future. So thanks for listening to the show. Email us at thepodtalknetwork@gmail.com. And if you have a comment or a question that you have, we'll get it into the next podcast and try and get an answer for you. Look for us on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, and all podcast servers. Our bumper music is from Philip Gross, Rast, from the Free Music Archive. Everything you need to know about us is at thepodtalk.net. Please be sure to look for other shows such as Circular Firing Squad, fun show that we've done over the years, up to 75 episodes, and Vision Profiles, a new show on spatial computing. That's it for this episode. Thanks for subscribing to the Tech Savvy Professor.